How do you define that waking up?
Well, it's a big term right now. People are using mindfulness, waking up, present moment. And really all of that means, and just to distill this down to make it very simple for people, because language can be complicated, particularly when we have different interpretations and meanings of it. But really to just break this down at a granular level, waking up just means I'm no longer listening or paying attention to some thought that's in my mind that is velcroing me or capturing me away from actually interacting with life. I'll give you a couple examples of this. The ego, which people think more of the ego as like some bravado, like look at me, I've got a big ego, look at the car I'm driving, house and this, I'm shouting, right? And that's a form of egoic level of consciousness. But egoic level of consciousness can be the exact opposite. It could be renunciation, right? It can be not doing any of that. It can be going away from money, it can be going towards money. All ego means, if you're coming from ego, it means that you who is in there's a subject object relationship. We all have that voice inside our head. It's you are paying attention to that voice. You're holding on to some image. You're paying attention to some future event that's going to occur. You're holding on to some past event. All of that means that you're just not actually there for life. You're like, even today, like right now, as you're listening to this podcast, are you really listening to me or Eric? Or are you listening to the mind narrate this conversation for you? So waking up or mindfulness, just all that means is the first step is just I'm aware that I am not always there. Like when you go and you yell at your partner, during that time you're yelling at your partner, I understand you couldn't control that. It just happened. Then when you gain control and you come back aware, you go, hey, I'm so sorry for acting that way. I don't know what came over me. Well, what came over you is you became egoic level of consciousness. That's all ego means. And the same thing for eating. It's like you wake up in the morning, you're like, I'm not going to eat those chips tonight. Then all of a sudden at 7 o'clock at night, you find yourself can't even stop going towards those chips to have a few, right? And then the minute you have a few, you're going, why did I eat those, right? And so you kind of, then the morning you have more stability, more awareness, and you go, I'm not going to eat those again, right? So waking up mindfulness just means I'm no longer going to allow that voice or some collection of thoughts or ideas or images actually run my life, or you can put an I in there and ruin your life. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to wake up to the present moment. Think about times where you're engaged in speaking events or training, or if you're maybe engaged with your kids, or if you're playing sports. I like to tell people, like when you're skiing or snowboarding, when you get into that flow moment, you're not using your mind anymore, right? You're just actually in the moment, and life knows what to do. It's taking care of it. And so that's what we mean by waking up in mindfulness. And as you do that, you don't lose this edge. That's so many people are afraid to go down this path. They're like, but I'm going to lose this edge. I'm not going to be as strong anymore. I'm not going to gain those things. And it's like a coat, right? It's like you can always put on that edge. It's just controlled. So if you need to go turn on part of you, you can put on that coat to go turn it on. Tim Ferriss gave this example. He said he likes to look at that question as like wearing a smoker's jacket. You wear a smoker's jacket to go in and have a cigar, but it'd be really weird to have your smoker's jacket on in the middle of the gym, or in the middle of a conference, or in the middle of Dunkin' Donuts having your smoker's jacket on. So it's got a purpose for it, but you take it off. And what the mindfulness and awareness will do is broaden your horizon to see the world differently, so you can see where you're acting from egoic level of consciousness, and then you can become aware of that and start working on that path. And that's personal growth.